Hello, once again, I welcome you to my YouTube channel. In this video, I will be sharing with you a project I have just completed. The project is on how to deploy a self-hosted Git server, similar to um, GitHub, but in this case, it's going to be privately deployed in your network. And we are going to connect this server to a domain name with an SSL certificate so that you can securely access the server through the browser. In every company, source code management is very important, you will agree with me. And commonly used platforms for source code management include GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, and so many of them. It could be AWS code commits, um, and many other um, source version control system or source code management system. But some of these, majority of these, or even all of these um, version control or source code management system are either in the cloud, like the enterprise type, or they are being in the public. So this poses some security risk. And so, in a situation where a high level of security is required, a company might decide to privately host their source code management platform. And this is what we are going to be doing in this project. The source code management that is being deployed in this project is called Gitea, Gitea, as you are going to see in a few seconds. So Gitea is a lightweight tool that we are going to deploy, and it's going to perform excellently and exactly like your GitHub. So in this video, it's going to be in two parts. In the first part, I'm going to explain the components and configuration of this self-hosted server, Gitea. And in the second phase of the project, we are going to have a hands-on demonstration on how this project or this server is being deployed. I hope you're going to follow me in this journey, and I hope you will enjoy it. So now, let's move on to the explanation of the configuration of this server. So, just like I explained um, earlier, so let's assume you have a source code. In a company, there's always going to be a source code. There's going to be a source code which contain your code, and usually this source code is going to be managed in the repository, which can either be GitHub, as commonly used. It can either be GitHub, or it can be GitLab, or if you decide to use Bitbucket. But you will agree with me that this can either be an enterprise version. Maybe your company is a large company and they are using an enterprise version, which is very expensive, or they are using a public version. Either of these is exposed or available to the public, depend on how the repository is being set up. You can either set your repository as either private or public. But there is still level of security concern when you have your source code being hosted in public version control system. So what we are going to be doing in this video is we are going to be deploying a server called Gitea, which is lightweight and can be managed privately within the company network, such that you are the only one, you only grant access to people that you want access to be given to. And this can be managed entirely within your network. And so what I've done in this video is that apart from deploying this server, we also go ahead and connect it to a domain name, connect it to a DNS name with an SSL certificate, so that we can publicly access this server from HTTPS. Okay, so for you to completely appreciate this project, you will need to have a domain name, a registered domain name. Okay, you have to register a domain name, and also you must have an AWS account, because I'm going to be using an EC2 instance, an AWS EC2 instance. However, you can go ahead to host it anywhere. You can use Azure, if you can use Azure VM, or you can use GCP to host it. But I'll be using a virtual machine. That's just what I mean. But in this project, if you want to follow through, then I'll be using AWS EC2. So these two are very important for you to follow the project. However, if you don't have a domain name, then you can bypass, or you can skip that process of the domain name, and you can access the server through the IP address directly from your browser. So you can use the IP address and the port on which it is exposed. You can also use it to to access the server. Okay, so I haven't got this correctly. Now I have a simple architectural diagram here that shows this is the EC2 instance. The entire box is the EC2 instance, on which inside it we will install Nginx. I'm going to explain what that means. I'm going to explain Nginx, and we are going to deploy the server. After deploying the server is connected to a database, a MariaDB database in this case, and then we have a user, okay, from the internet connecting through a DNS name on the browser, and from there we access the server and the repository. Okay, so that is how the architecture look like. Now, I have drawn out the step-by-step approach on how you can how you can easily follow this project to completion. So I'm going to first walk us through the step-by-step approach, and then we're going to go on to demonstration. What I've done here is that I explain the step-by-step approach, and I try to consolidate the entire process into a single shell script, so that with a single command, you can just deploy the application, and you appreciate the process. So let us explain what are the components of this process. So the objective of this process is to automate, to deploy a private Git repository solution, and then we are going to be using SSH and HTTP. SSH will allow us, if you look at the diagram, if you look at the architectural diagram, the Nginx server is connecting to the Git server by port forwarding, while the Git server is connecting to MariaDB database through SSH. So we need the SSH protocol in that process. So that's why we are having SSH in our connection. So also we are going to be hosting a secure repository. Now, I actually put it here. If you look at the definition here, I said Git is an excellent lightweight alternative to GitHub and GitLab. And this setup ensures full control over the deployment workflow because you have the total control. The server is hosted on premise and it is within your network. So you have the complete control of it. And that is the advantage where you can manage the security, you can manage the access of those who can access the repository. Now, what we want to do here, we say we want to host that with the deliverables now. At the end of the project, what we want to achieve? We want to achieve a fully functional self-hosted Git server that is configured with SSH and HTTPS. Then we are going to be having a reverse proxy, which is Nginx. I'm going to be explain that. So we are going to be installing Nginx server. So the first thing we are going to do is what? Set up our virtual machine. And when we set up the virtual machine, we are going to install an Nginx server. Nginx server, in this case, is going to be working as a reverse proxy to allow traffic to be routed to the required port 80 and port 443, which is HTTP and HTTPS. And also, we are going to be encrypting SSL certificates on our domain name using something we call Certbot. Okay? It is called what? Certbot. I'm going to do that. Certbot. Sorry about my poor handwriting. Okay. I'm just going to take it again. We call it Certbot. So this Certbot works on what we call on a language called Python 3 Certbot Nginx. And what does it do? This Certbot allow SSL certificates to be generated automatically from the browser without intervention, without human intervention. That is why the word bot was called. So just like saying certificate bot. So we are going to be employing this tool which will help us to generate the SSL certificates that our browser will need to run. You know, if you have a domain name that is SSL enabled, you will need to generate a browser certificate for your domain to run on that browser, or for you to accept traffic from the internet. So that is what this Certbot will be doing in this process. So, and then what are the requirements? I said we are going to need an Ubuntu machine. You can decide to use Amazon Linux if you like. Then we are going to need the domain name, and then we are going to have all these ports open. Port 22, port 80, and port 443 we require to be open. Also, we need to, since we are going to be dealing with MariaDB, we will need to open, I think, port 587 as well. So all the necessary ports must also be opened. And these are the steps that we're going to be taking. The first step is that we are going to be updating and upgrading our dependency on the machine, which is the right thing to do. Anytime you spin up a virtual machine or an EC2 machine in this case, the first thing you want to do is to update and upgrade the machine so that all the packages and tools, dependencies that are applied that are available or that are on the machine are going to be made available to you. So that is the first thing you want to do, is to update the machine. So after that, we are going to install some tools. And that tool is we are going to install MariaDB. Okay, after we install MariaDB, we are going to install Git. After that, we are going to install Certbot. Okay, so all these are going to be done in a single process. And then look at that command here that will do that job. If you look at the command here, we're going to install sudo apt install Git, MariaDB server, Nginx, Certbot, and then Python 3 Certbot Nginx. So we are going to be installing all these tools. Please take note of the tool again. Git is the first one, MariaDB server the second, Nginx server the third, Certbot tool, which will help us in SSL certification management, and also the tool that will help us to run it. So in that case, then we'll move ahead and we're going to secure our database. We secure our database such that only the root will be able to sign from the local host. We are going to disable it such that nobody will be able to sign from the outside. So when we secure the database, then we are going to log into the database. After logging into the database, then we are going to create a database called Gitea, and we are going to create a user in the database. The user is also Gitea, and we are going to set up that database. After that, we are going to install and configure Gitea, which is the server. Then this is also the command, and after that, we are going to set up configuration and permission. Then we'll go ahead to set up systemd service. Now, why do you want to set up systemd service? You set up systemd service for a particular service so that you don't have to start the service all the time. If the service is configured with systemd, it means that each time you start up the machine, that service will automatically start. And after that, we are going to configure Nginx server, and you can see from my from the command here, Nginx server is going to be listening on port 80, and it's going to be routing the traffic by proxy to the local host. So that means this port 3000 must also be opened on your server. So also, we are going to be securing SSL certificates, and we're going to be enable SSH. And after that, we'll be able to what? We'll be able to access our server on this DNS name. So this is the whole process. So what I have done is that, like I said, I have mopped up and consolidate all these steps into a single bash script that we can just run. And that's what we're going to be doing in the next chapter. So the next thing now is to jump onto the hands-on demonstration. So, let me just quickly take you through the steps. So the first steps, what are our steps? Our step is one, we're going to spin up an EC2 machine. We are going to split up an EC2 machine. Second, we are going to update the machine. Okay, we're going to update the machine. After updating the machine, we are going to take, because whenever you configure a DNS name, it takes a few minutes for it to propagate. So I always like to start it at the beginning of the project so that by the time we complete the project, the DNS integration will have been completed. So after this, we are going to go and update or configure. We are going to update our DNS record. Okay, we are going to update our DNS record, and after that, we are going to run the script. We are going to run the script to deploy the server. Okay, so the next thing is I'll go up to my AWS. So this is my AWS platform. So I'm going to go ahead and launch a server. So I'll click on launch server or launch instance. I'll give it a name, Gitea server. I will call it Gitea server. I'm going to go with Ubuntu machine. What is this? I will go with Ubuntu machine. Okay. And please let me just refresh and start again. As I can see, it's dragging. So launch machine, I'll give it Gitea server. Gitea server. I will go with Ubuntu machine. Then I will stay with Ubuntu 2024 LTS, which is one of the latest one and is very stable. For the LTS means a long time support. Then, so that my process can be very fast, I'm going to be using T2 medium, or let me use T3 medium. Okay, let me use T3. Let me see T3. Okay, I'm going to be using T3 medium. Okay, then I'm going to select my key pair, which will allow me to connect by SSH. then I'm going to be selecting a security group. So in my own case, I have a security group. I'm going to show you that. Let me quickly this in another link. I have a security group that I've prepared. Okay, I've prepared the security group and I've opened necessary port. I've opened necessary port so that, okay, this is the security group. So I've opened necessary ports that are commonly used so that anytime I need it, I just pick it up. So you might want to do the same. You can take a screenshot and all you just need is to create a security group and open all this. Most of the DevOps projects will need you to open some of these ports. It won't take a time to create it and you can just attach it. So you can see all the ports that are needed here, 3,000 to 10,000, port 22, port 465, 443, and so on. All the ports are all being opened. So I'll just close this. So I'll select existing group and I will take general, that's what I call it. Okay, then I'm going to use 30 GIB for my storage and I will go ahead to the server. So the server has been launched. So the next thing we are going to do now is to SSH into this server. So we're going to connect this server by SSH. So we're going to do SSH to the server. So I will click on it. I'll just copy the, you can click on connect and you can see the command here to connect. It's already here. But I believe you know how to connect. I have a video that you can, you might want to check it out on how to connect, how to SSH into a machine. So I'll just go back and I'll just take the public DNS. Look at it here. And I will go to my terminal. So this is my terminal. And I want to connect. Let me see. I have the command entry. This is a command to connect. So I'll just remove the other part of it. And I will paste the new part. Now, what is this command doing? I'm SSH with interactive action from the home directory where this key pair is stored. And I want to SSH into this Ubuntu machine. So I'll just click enter and I will accept yes. And now I'm connected into the machine. So I'm going to clear my screen. And now, like I said, I have set up a single bash script. And I have it in my GitHub repository. So I'll go to my GitHub repository now and pull it. And I'm going to make the link available to you in the comment section in case if you want to follow through. So I'll go back to my machine. Let me look for my GitHub account. And I will look for that. I will go to repository. Okay, this is it here. Git self-hosted Git server. So this code, and you should see it. I have made a comprehensive process on how to follow through. So you can, clone this repository. Make sure you click on the star. Just clone the repository, or you can fork it, and then you'll be able to follow through very easily. So just make sure you click on star and fork, so that you click on star, meaning that if I make any changes in this repository, in this Git repository, you'll be able to get a notification. So I'm going to go ahead and clone and copy the clone, and I will go back to my terminal, and I'm just going to clone this git clone, and I'm going to paste. So the repository is cloned, and it's going to create this. The name of the repo is going to create self-hosted repo. So we are going to cd into it, cd into self-hosted repo. I just tab, and I'm in it, and I'll just clear. So let us see what do we have. So this is what we have in the repository, and this is the script. So I actually have two versions here. So this is the script that we are going to run that has comprises of all the processes. So let me cut out the string, cat, self-hosted, cat, deploy. So if you look at it, these are all the processes that I've explained earlier on. So if you look at it, it's going to, this is the, this is our demo, our, the domain name, this is the Git user, and this is the name of our, this is the password of our database. And the first thing we are going to do is, so this is like a variable. And the first thing we're going to do is going to be updating and operating the system. After that, it's going to be installing required packages, which is Git, MariaDB, Nginx, Certbot, and all that. I'm going to follow all those processes up to the bottom. Okay. Now, after that, then we'll be able to, it's going to tell us, after the completion, it's going to echo Git installation setup complete successfully. And after that, we'll be able to access the server. Now, let me clear my screen. Inside it also, I have another script here, which just, let me cut that out too. Cut, unscripted. You can see I put it as unscripted. So this is just the step-by-step approach on how you can do it. If you want to copy the command one after the other, it would be nice if you can do it so that you can actually appreciate the power of the script. Because when I first did it, what I did was to copy this command one after the other, or in group, and I ran the process all through before I now decide to consolidate them into a script. So you might want to check that out as well. Okay, now, so I'm going to clear my screen. Now, the next thing we're going to do is, if you remember, if you go back to my list here, after spinning up and do the update, it is the script that will do the update. The next thing to do is to what? Update our DNS record. Now, like I said, it is important because by the time this server is deployed, I want the DNS propagation to have been ready so that we can easily, we don't have to wait to access the data. So I'm going to go and update my DNS record. And how do we do that? I will go to my EC2 machine, which is here, and I will pick the public IP address. Look at the public IP address. I'll copy it to my domain name register. Okay, I'm using Ionos login. If you like, you can use. I also have another account with what do we call it, with GoDaddy. So, but I'm going to be using Ionos register in this case. So I'm going to log in. Okay, so I'm going to log in here. Password ID. I'm going to quickly do the two-factor authentication. Please just give me a minute to authenticate. All right, I have authenticated and I think it works. Okay, now I've authenticated. So we are going to go ahead and update the DNS record. So I'm going to go to manage domain, and this is my domain name. Okay, but now I'm going to be adding a new A record. I already have another one there, so I'll just click on what? DNS, and I'm going to add a record. But since I have an existing record, I'll just update it. So what I'm going to do is, you click, if you want to add a new record, you click on add record, and it's going to be an A record because you are using an IP4 address to point to a domain name. So what I want to do is that I want my IP address of my EC2 machine to point to this name. And you're going to do by creating an A record. So I've already created one here, so I'll just go ahead and edit it. I'll click on edit, and it's an A record, and I'll just paste the IP address of my machine, and I'll update it. And immediately you update it, it's going to create a www version of it, okay? I also want to access this, my server. You know, it's a Git server. So I want to access it as git.my domain name. So in that case, I will add another A record. And in that case, I already have it here. I'll just go ahead and edit it. and I'll just change the IP address to the new machine. And what is going to give us? If you look at down here under preview, so that means my address of the server will now be git.suspendemo.com, which will be the name. That is why we are having Git here. So I'll go ahead and save it. So we now have the DNS record updated. For if you are using GoDaddy, you can go to GoDaddy DNS name. You go to DNS management. This is your GoDaddy account. After login, you click on DNS. Okay, and when you click on DNS, you are going to go under DNS record, and you go to add new record. You add new record, and you are going to update the names of the record. You are going to choose a record, and you are going to update the IP address of your machine with the new record. Okay, so let's move ahead now. Now that we have updated our DNS record, now let's go back to our terminal and run the command. Now, before you go ahead and run the command for the script that will install the server, remember we have updated our DNS record so that the IP address of our EC2 machine or the server will be pointing or will be resolving to the domain name. So the first thing is you want to confirm if this is actually working. So you need to run a command to confirm if the domain name of your DNS record is resolving to the IP address of your machine. That is when you will know or you will confirm that the propagation is successful, and then you can go ahead and run the command. This is very important because when a DNS record is updated on a domain name register, it takes a couple of minutes or seconds for it to completely propagated. So you want to ensure this name resolution is working before you go ahead and run the script to install the server, so that by the time the server is up and running, you can easily go ahead and access the browser or access the server on the browser. So I will go ahead now and check if the domain name resolves to the IP address by using the command ns lookup. And what is my domain name? git.suspendemo.com, and I will click enter. Now you can see it's telling me that the server is on the local. The address is also on my local machine. This is a look back address for your local machine, and if you go down there, under non-authoritative answer, it gives you the name of the IP of the my domain name, which I just typed up here, and it gave me the IP address that is attached to this domain name. Let's confirm if this IP address is the same IP address we have on our EC2 machine. So if you notice the last two number is 18 and 76. So I'll go back to my domain name to my EC2 machine to confirm. And if you look at it on the EC2 machine, you can see from the IP address, sorry, let me drag it. I think it's on the other machine. Okay. Just a minute. It's down. Let me just minimize this, and I'll bring it up. So if you look at it, if you look at the IP address 3.92.18.76, that is the same IP address that we have here, 392.18.76. So that means our domain name, git.suspend.com, which is the domain name of the server, is successfully resolving to this IP address, meaning that if you put this IP address in the browser, it should go back to this domain name, or if you put this domain name in the browser, it should be pointing to this IP address. So now that we have it, then we can go ahead and run the script, and that script will install the server and we can go ahead and access the server on the browser. So let's see what do we have in this folder. Use LN, and you can see we have two folders here. One is the script that will run the installation, and I have another script here. Now let's see what we have in these two scripts. I'm going to clear my screen, and in the first one, let me cut deploy, and if you look at it, this is exactly those steps and stages that I explained previously. So this is a bash script where all the steps that I explained previously has been consolidated onto this file so that we can just run it with a single command, with a single shell command. So they created the variable. You can see the domain name. This is our domain name, and this is the username, Gitea, and this is the password. So take note of the password because we are going to use it when we want to access the server. And you can see what everything that this script will be doing. It will be updating the system, it will be installing the packages, and so on, up to the end. And after the completion, it's going to echo on the screen that Git installation and setup complete successfully. So when we see this statement on the screen, then we can go ahead and access the server. Now, in the second script, or in the second file, sorry, in this other file, what do we have in the file? Let's cut it out. And the file is I name it unscripted steps. Now, these are the steps, the step-by-step process for the deployment of the server. Now, when I first worked on this project, what I did was to copy this command one after the other or in groups and run them before I now decided to put them in the script. So if you want to follow the process one after the other, you can go ahead and use this file and just follow the step-by-step approach to install it. It will make you to appreciate the power of the shell script because what you have achieved or what the shell script will achieve just through one command is the same thing that this file will be achieving by copying the file one after the other and running them. So that is just what this is. So if you choose to go manually, you can follow this second script. Okay, so I will go ahead now, clear the screen, and I will run the script and we'll watch it do the magic. So to run the script, I will just do sudo // and the file is deploy underscore gitea.sh, and I will go ahead, enter. So let's watch it do the magic. So you can see it's going to It's going to start by updating and upgrading the server. From there, you will go ahead and install the packages. You will go ahead there and get permission. In fact, it's just going to follow the step by step that I've explained earlier. And so this is going to take a couple of seconds, a minute, let's say within 3 to 5 minutes. Excuse me. And we should be able to see the server deployed. And we can go ahead on the browser and access it. So let's see. So please, I want to implore you, if you have gained something on this video, kindly subscribe to this video, like and comment, so that whenever we upload a new video, you're going to get a notification. This will help me to reach more viewers who are interested to learn, and it will also motivate me to make more videos. Thank you as you do. So let's see what is going on. So if you are following, it is difficult to follow because it's moving very fast. But if you just take an eye on it, you will see some of those processes that we have explained. You see them running on your screen. So let's allow it more time. The current process is at 91%. still running. It's setting up the snapd. Okay, let's go ahead. This OpenSSH server. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of stuff running on this command. So this is actually the power of a shell script, and I will employ you. If you are not very familiar with bash script and shell scripting, I will employ that you take out some time to learn a little bit of shell scripting, either with a bash or with Python. It will do you a lot of good in your DevOps career. So let's see. Okay, it's actually good. So now it's gone on to another step. It's adding the it has installed the server. So it's going to go ahead after the whole thing. It will go ahead and register the domain name. Remember at the beginning we installed something called Certbot. So that Certbot is actually doing that now. So it's going to go ahead and register the domain. And okay, you can see here now Gitea server is running. The configuration is completed and Gitea server is running. So at this point now, if you look at it, it says account registered, requesting certificate for GitHub. So that is what Certbot is going to be doing. So this is, let me just show you exactly here. See the highlighted point, successfully received certificate. So Certbot, if you look at it, if you go a little bit up, look at this line. Right after they say configuring Nginx as reverse proxy, setting up SSL with Certbot. And if you look at down here, it says certificate receive, successfully received certificate. So it has received the SSL certificate that will allow you to access that server securely over the browser. And that is the certificate that has been given. So it's deploying the certificate here. And you can see in the final analysis, it says Git installation and setup completed successfully. So now the server has been deployed, and so we can now go ahead and access it on the browser. So that is the next thing we're going to do now. So I'll just go to my my EC2 machine, and I will grab I'll go to my EC2 machine. I'll open another browser, and I will go and access my server. And what is the address of the server? git.sourcepin.demo.com, and I will hit enter. And you can see live we have been able to access our Gitea server. But now this is the initial configuration. Now we have to go ahead and configure this server to see what we have there. So, and all we need to do is to add. You can see almost everything has been pre-configured. So we just need to put in the password. And don't forget we have the password. You should go back to your terminal. You remember we have the password. I'm going to clear your screen and just show you where we have the password. I should remember when we cut out, or we can when we cut out the deployment.yaml file, you can see here on this line, it says database password. So that is the password that has been set for the server. So, and that is what DevOps at 123. So I will just go ahead and put this password right here. DevOps at 123. So I have put in the password. I will go ahead now and click install Gitea. Now let us see what we have. So I've clicked on install Gitea. So let's allow it a few seconds. Okay. Now it's installing the Gitea server, which is our Gitea repository. Now we'll go ahead and register, because since we have not signed on before, so you should go to the top right. You see register, click on register, and you can go ahead and register. So here I'm going to call my username Felix0s1. I'm going to put in a password, any password, and I'm just going to put in email and any password. I'll just put in the password 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 6 7 8 9. That is my password, and I'll click on register. And you can see it said account was successfully welcome. So this is just like what we have, and if you see, you can This is the profile name. This is the profile setting. This is your profile. You can see this is my profile. This is just like my GitHub repo, and I can click with new repository. If I click on new repository, let's say I want to call my repository demo repo, and I'll just go ahead. It's asking me the description, the template. Do I want to add the license? If I don't want license, do I want to add README file? And I can go ahead and see this is just the same thing that you have, like your GitHub. So I can go ahead now. Let me go ahead and clone this repo. So I can click on this repo. See it. This is the repository. If I want to push some file into this repo, I can use this. So I'm going to copy this command you see here, and I'm going to go to my tab. So I'll copy. I'll go to my terminal. Okay, I will close this, and I will clear the screen. Then ls. This is what we have in this file, or say ll if you like. So I want to push this into the new repository. I will clear it. Don't forget, in the repository, it's still empty now. It's a new repo. Nothing is in it. If I click, it's going to come back to this stage. So I'll just copy. Look at it here. I'll just go ahead and copy the command. This is the repo, and this is the command here. I will just copy it, and I will go to my terminal, and I will paste it, and I will click enter. Let us see. Now you can see now it asks me for the username. What is the username? Don't forget my username. Let me take you back. The username is what? Felix081. And I'll go back to my my terminal and put the username Felix081. And I will click. That's me for the password. I think the password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Click enter. Okay, so authentication fails. So let me see what. You see, remote origin already exists. Okay, Felix81. Okay, probably I'm not doing the right thing on the server. Recommended authentication. Okay. All right. Okay. In this case, I'm gonna have to remove the original server. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cd out. I'm going to create a new file called Gitea demo. I'll create a new file. Make directory Gitea demo. I'll click it. Then I'll cd into it. Gitea demo. I will clear it. Then I will go and paste that command again. And I will click enter. Okay, you can see it now. It asks me for the name. Let me put it Felix081. I will click enter. And it asks me for the password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I will click enter. Now you can see it has what? It has pushed into it. So I will go back to my repo now and I will refresh. And you can see a new file has been pushed into this. Let me go back again and push something. I will clear my screen. I will create a file here. Let me create touch. Let me call the file text1.txt. Another file test2.txt. I will touch the file. Okay, and I will do ll. Now look at all the files that I have here. I have file called test1 and test2, which I have just created, and I want to push it into this file. You should see here I only have the README file. Don't forget, all I'm doing now is just to test, to show you that this server works exactly like your GitHub, and it's in a private repository which you can only access by yourself. So I will go back there now. Now I can now do git status. You can see it. Git hard period githard, okay, git commit, that's command added 2 files. Click enter, and I said git push. Ask me for the password, Felix 081. Password is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. You can see it's pushed down. If I go to my page, you can see the 2 file has been added. Test 1. Let me increase it for you to see. You can see the 2 file has been added. Test 1 and test 2. Let me create a file here and do a pull request. So I'm going to add a file here, and do a pull on the other hand. We have to add a new file. Look at it here. Add a new file. I'll add a new file. I'll call that file pull file, and inside it I'll just put testing. I'll just put it, and I will go ahead and I can commit the file. Okay, so if I commit the file now, so that means I have created another file here called pull file, but don't forget that file is not here. Okay, let me clear now. If I create a new file here, let's assume I create a folder. Let me create a folder here. Make directory called demo1. If I create a directory here, like now, if you look at it here, what I have here, there are conflicts. I have a file here called demo in the local hand, but in my remote hand, I don't have it. Also, in my remote hand here, I have a file called pull file, but in my local hand, I don't have it. So if I decide to push, let me try to push now. If I do git status, you can see it's telling me that your branch is up to date. Meanwhile, the branch there is not up to date because a new file has been added here. So if I try to do git push, it won't go. So what do I need to do? I need to do a git pull so that I can pull the file I just created at the back end into the local. So I'll do git pull. You can see that it has pulled the code. If I now do git status again, LL, you can see the new file called pull file has been added. So now if I do git push, and I put the username for the 081, I put the password 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, enter. Now you see everything is up to date. So that git pull is done. So you can see that your Git server is working exactly like your GitHub server, and everything is secure in your network, and you can give access to people who want to use it. So this is what I intend to show us today. I believe you have learned one or two things in this video. Kindly like and comment on this video and let me know what's your experience or what your view is. I'm going to include the repository in the comment section in case you would like to follow the process, and let me know if you are able to deploy it. I hope you like this video, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.